Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Um, I apologize. I know it's been a long time since I have done a video. Um, I created a whole other adventure for myself. Um, so I appreciate all your patience and your support and for showing up again. Um, think I'm finally finding a little bit of footing between my projects. And so I hope I can get back on track with these. Actually, that was my intention to be on track, but we'll see it all come through. Anyway, I was sitting here and just playing with the cards, and these three cards, um, Magic came out first, and I flipped it over, saw Adventure or Rebirth at the bottom of the deck. And when I split the deck, it split on Adventure, and Celebration was under it. And I thought, okay, so I put them all back. And I shuffled them again, and there they are. So that just said Spirit really wants to bring this message through. Really not sure what it is at this moment because I pulled these cards and Rebirth came out at the bottom of that deck. So it's definitely some big life-changing energies that we've all been experiencing. I don't think that that is a mystery anymore. Um, that rebirth energy, something has to die, something has to be shed, removed, closed, ended, in order for there to be a rebirth, right? And that time can be very difficult. I don't think any of us are strangers to the pains and sorrows and frustrations of, you know, having our lives seemingly turned upside down in an already upside down world. Um, the first card, Magic, um, it says, make a wish, believe in miracles, magic surrounds you. And that tells me that in this time of ending things, right? Of ending out karmic cycles, of cutting ties with those people, places, and things that no longer serve our highest good, that bring toxicity and chaos. Um, and we come to a point where we realize we've been looping kind of in the same pattern over and over again. That often is signal for, change that needs to be made. And I believe that many of us have made those changes. Um, some possibly more recently than others. But in those moments, we made a wish. We had a hope. We, sent out a desire to the universe, um, to bring in, you know, more peace, more harmony, more balance, right? Higher connections, higher resonant connections, if that makes sense. So, we're looking for that joy to re-enter, for that sense of adventure. And feel like Spirit is coming in and saying, we have heard your prayers, we have heard your wishes, we, you know, um, have heard your hopes and your dreams in the midst of the chaos, right? In the midst of the pain and the sorrow, that silent cry that seems to come from the soul, right? It's a deep desire to see the light of day, to feel the light of the sun, to have that clarity in our lives, and to also have those heartfelt connections, not just romantically, but in our friendships, in our partnerships, in our work environments, right? Our family environments. It's to have those relationships where there is equal reciprocity, where the giving and the receiving flow naturally. They're not forced. They're not based on expectations, these sorts of things. And the magic of it all is in the patience, right? It is in the letting go, the surrender, the trust in the universe, the trust in source, in God, in your angels, your ancestors, those divine beings of white light, that what may seem impossible now is, or had seemed impossible in the past, is truly possible, and that they will bring those things through for us. And I feel like they are saying that those prayers and those wishes have been answered, and that it is here, and that it is all within us, right? That we are the miracle we have been waiting for all of our lives. And and removing and clearing out those lower vibrational energies, right? Those, recognizing that we have learned our lesson, not once, not twice, but multiple times, right? We realize that, okay, I've learned the lesson. I don't need to have this experience again. Um, that the healing comes, the clarity comes, and that perhaps one of the reasons we have not seen some of these prayers and these wishes being answered is because there's a layer of fog. It's like a layer of residue. It's like a residue. And it's funny because when I sat down here to do this reading, I tried to read the book on one of these cards, right? The magic card. And I actually am not able to see very good today. Like, I was forcing it, trying to use my looking glass. And it was even, and I have glasses, and it was even hard. I just couldn't see. And it was like there was a haze. There's a haze, a residue uh, over my eyes that is not allowing me to really see the details. And I feel like this is that residue that is being lifted now, right? It's kind of like when you have a storm in the ocean, um, it brings up the bottom of the ocean, the sand, the silt, even in ponds and lakes, right? When heavy storms go across them, it stirs up the bottom. And it's not until after the storm passes and the weather settles where the residue clears, right? The waters become more clear and still. And so it's like Spirit is saying, this is that clearing, right? Not to lose hope, that your miracle is here. It is inside you. It may not look like you expected, I'm hearing. It may not come in the form that you expect it to come in. And it's coming in chunks, like, okay, it's coming in chunks, in steps, in stages, and one stage may not look like it makes a whole lot of sense. It feels very strange. Um, I'm asking myself, what does this have to do with it? What does this have to do with my wish? What does this have to do with my dream, right? What does this have to do with my goal? But here I find myself experiencing this and going through this. And the angels are saying that it is a part, it is a block, right? Of pieces that are being brought together. So it's almost like walking up a staircase or building blocks, right? So it's going to come in chunks. We may find ourselves in energies or situations that we didn't really expect or we didn't plan, and we may find answers coming from those experiences, right? That help us put these blocks together, that take us to the next block. And before we know it, it will all come together and make sense, right? So just know that your answer is on the way. Um, and that sometimes, well, always, it requires some sort of action on our part. So, yes, have hope, have faith, but when called to move, and you will know in your spirit when you are being called to move, then it will be time to take action. And those actions, no matter how small they may seem or how minuscule or unrelated they may seem, they are all part of the grand plan. It also tells me that I feel like some have been in the mental space a lot. Maybe a lot of thinking, a lot of planning. There's a lot of logic. Um, I'm feeling right now it's being in the mental space very heavily. They're saying not to overthink, not to overanalyze things. Um, just surrender and trust that the universe is bringing them together, that you are right where you are designed to be. You are on the right path, to get out in nature, to take advantage of those sunny days, those peaceful moments and stillness, to also um, breathe in that breath of fresh air, that light of joy, right? To do things that make your heart sing, that bring joy and laughter and fun. And that may be difficult for some, like, how could I enjoy this space? And I feel like that's what they're encouraging us to do for those who are still struggling, is it may be a matter of moving around the energy, right? What I mean by that, opening windows, right? Letting fresh air in, um, is something as simple as reorganizing your cabinet, a small cabinet, maybe a dresser drawer or a bathroom drawer, or just getting the energy moving around, dusting, decluttering, things like that. Um, Also, just being outside, being in touch with nature, getting in touch with the trees, I'm hearing, animals, and to celebrate, right? To know that we are coming into this celebratory energy. It is going to be time to celebrate. Things as this adventure moves on. So I feel that joy, that vibrancy, that free spirit, allowing your creativity to flow, getting in touch with nature and grounding, I think is going to help. Um, Under rebirth, we also have finding love. This is like the lover's card. So it is where truly what we're looking for is unity, right? We're looking for that love that reflects back to us, right? And those long-term, relationships, as far as relationships go. But this is a unity of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, which brings us to a point where it can often feel like a fated choice. And this is where the angels are coming in and saying that we're moving into a time now where it's no, it's like w- the choices we've made from our heart, right? There's been these heart-based choices, but somehow we have broken this cycle of karma that would have brought us to this fated moment. But somewhere along the line, we have made a choice for our highest good. And it is now like we're walking into our destiny, right? Like we've kind of changed the course of fate, if that makes sense, is what I'm feeling. So to not look back, right? To know that as you bring this divine feminine and this divine masculine into union in yourself and you allow this magic of who you are, um, to unfold and to reveal, then it will begin to manifest in the physical, in the relationships, new relationships, right? You may even find some relationships falling away, but it is just making room for the new relationships to come in. There's just some energies that cannot come forward, and we're being asked not to look back, not to go back. Um, and some may find lifetime partners, right, out of this process of coming into unity. It's like choosing that higher spiritual consciousness, that awareness has is bringing in a more destined type of energy, is what I'm feeling. Um, they're asking us to really set ourselves free. It says, actually, I can see this now. It says, wow. So if I can see now, it's in this choice, right? It's in this choice. It's in choosing ourselves. It is in choosing that love and that joy and that magic of who we are first. Priority is what I'm hearing. That is going to lift. It's going to clear that residue. It's going to bring in the clarity so that we can see and remember who we truly are, the power of our magic, the power of the requests that we have placed in the universe's hands, our wishes, our dreams, our hopes. Um, so someone is reminding me of this little card in the reading that I did, or the false light, I think it was, for the private group. All those magic little creatures, right? They're like a mixture of that energy that was entwined in our request. It's like reminding me that when we're in that space and we're feeling, we could be frustrated, we could be angry, we could be sad, we could be mad, we could be, you know, overflowing with tears and just sobbing, or anxious or worried, or whatever it is. And spirit's calling me back to say, to remind you to say, I have a right to feel the way I feel. I will not judge myself. I will not judge myself because you're doing the right thing. You're processing, you're clearing, you're releasing, you're coming to that place of surrender. And it's in that place of surrender where there's still like little, there's, it's like the residue, right? Little particles. And sometimes these particles kind of catch together energetically, right? And it affects how the process unfolds. It affects how things manifest in the physical. And so those little strange creatures come out, right? They look like they make no sense. They look like they have no purpose. But they do. They're just a little strange looking because at the time we made that request, we had some of these feelings going through. We might have judged ourselves at the time and felt like, um, we were imperfect or that things were never going to happen, that sort of thing. But I think this is just spirit saying, you're good. Um, Bringing in that love, finding the balance between the divine masculine who is to, he's the one that goes out, he provides, he opens the door for the divine feminine. She's the one carrying this child and birthing this child, but it's this delicate balance between the two. They each have their own role, right? And so it's finding that balance. It's seeing that power within you, that you have both these energies in you, in your energetic makeup. And this allows us to fully fall in love with who we are and to really experience the magic that we do have within us. And it's in that moment where that magic, that joy bubbles up, right? That love bubbles up so much so that it kind of spills, right? And it begins to it doesn't not only heal us, but it starts to help healing take place in those people, places, things um, around us, right? And they're asking us to look at this as an adventure. It says, dare to do things differently, manifest your travel dreams, or move to a new home. So some of you may have been, you know, wishing and hoping for this new location or for this big change. If I could, you know, travel the seas, right? Or backpack across Europe, that sort of thing. Um, they're really inviting us to take those sorts of adventures. And for someone like me, an adventure now is a walk to the pond in the backyard. That so anyway, I think they're really just asking us to see this as an adventure, to allow the magic of that adventure to unfold, to know that things may not look like we expected them to, but to know that they're all right on track and right on time, and that we are protected. There may been some times in this space where we felt as though we were at risk of losing more, right? As if some of us could have lost any more than what we did. But there is always that fear, like, how do I keep this from happening again, right? How do I move forward in this new energy with this new knowledge and this new awareness and not lose it all over again? And Spirit is saying that we're on a new timeline, right? That we are not the people we used to be. We're not the little human we used to be. We've all gone through many lessons, right? We have gained wisdom, right, at this stage. And so they're saying, it is that light within, it is that magic within, that as you heal, you'll begin to see is your protection, right? So if you walk into a dark room and then you light a match, it exposes the dark, right? But you can't take a match of darkness and put out the lit room. It doesn't work like that, right? So it's that light within you that is bringing in this adventure, but it's also bringing in that protection. And that protection comes through the discernment of spirits, right? The spirit, when I say the discernment of spirit, so like the spirit of generosity versus the spirit of greed. I don't know why I'm speaking. Um, that sort of thing. So it allows us to discern between energies, right? So that as these experiences come through, um, and I always say that people are like experiences, right? When you meet someone or have someone in your life or in your field, then they bring an experience with them. That experience usually teaches us lessons or, you know, that sort of thing. So we begin to heal this part of us that needs validation from these lower vibrational energies, right? We're no longer convinced that we are not good enough. We're no longer convinced that we will never be anything. We are no longer convinced that we are broken and that we are lacking what we need in order to move forward and bring that healing and that love and that abundance and joy and peace and prosperity into our lives. We're realizing that if we have the power to heal, right? If we are the miracle, right? And Spirit is saying, ask for them to give you clear signs, undeniable signs. They will bring them to you. But once we find this magic within ourselves, yeah, we will begin to operate out of a higher vibrational energy and a higher vibrational frequency. So the choices that we make will not be the same. You know, the experiences that we draw in are not going to be the same as what we drew in um, before this rebirth, right? Because that energy has been turned to dust, to ash. It has been cut, cleared, dissolved, removed. We have come to a place within ourselves where we have found balance between that divine masculine and feminine, that it's brought healing and protection to this adventure. And this is an adventure that we will celebrate, right? It says a positive outcome is assured. Celebrate your successes, enjoy your achievements. So I'm hearing like, get out, go have fun, celebrate. Like it is here now, right? And you will see the power of your intentions you unfold. You will see the power of your wishes and your hopes and your dreams and your requests unfold in almost a miraculous way. Even though all these little bitty things may not make sense now, when you come through this, you will look back and say, wow, that that was a miracle. It's a miracle that I did this, this, and this because here it is. Here's the big um gift, right? Here's my dream. It didn't seem like it was coming together. It's almost like it'll take steps, one, two, three, and then boom, and everything makes sense. And again, with that rebirth card, so it's just confirming that we are celebrating this rebirth and this is our outcome, right? I don't know how long I've been going right now. I don't want to keep you guys. for too long, but I did want to just pull just a couple shadow cards. The inner teenager is coming out in reverse. So we've been healing that inner teenager. It says, yeah, it says it can show up as unresolved rebellion, defiance, frustration, frustration from unresolved teenage experiences. You may feel disconnected from your desires, struggle with authority, or resist change due to feelings of being misunderstood or restricted. This wound could manifest as inner conflict, a lack of acceptance, and difficulty finding your voice in a world that feels limiting. So, yeah, this is some breaking free. This is like breaking free from an oppression. You can see here she's behind a chain link fence, right? It's like, let me out of here. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced a moment like that, but I know that I have. Um, and it is most often a very unpleasant feeling. Um, And it can be difficult, right? It is those moments where there's this force within us that we're just so done with it that we get up, we pack a bag, we leave, and we never look back, right? And that can be seen as rebellious. You know, there may be people that say, "Oh my God, how could you do that? That just looks crazy." Um, Maybe you just need to calm down. But it's almost like that fire that brings out that rebellion is what forces that change. It's like it forces the fool off the cliff. It forces us to take that leap into the unknown, right? Into the new beginning. And I feel with that coming in reverse, that many of us have um, done that in one way, uh, shape, or form. It could be leaving jobs, it could be leaving friendships, it could be leaving family, spouses, um, areas, right? I know I live in a place where tornadoes are a real thing here. And there are times even here recently that I'm like, I am just so done with these storms that I want to move now, right? But I know that I really don't want to move. So a lot of times we take that leap, right? We get out of those situations and then we find ourselves um, by ourselves, right? Kind of withdrawn, like, who do I trust? Can I trust? I may as well kind of just sit here, go within, discover what I can discover within me. And it can often feel like a very lonely place. It can feel very isolating and disconnecting. And I feel like a lot of us, we did a lot of our healing in silence. A lot of the hopes and dreams and plans that we've had, we've kept to ourselves. We haven't really shared them with anyone. But Spirit is telling us now is the time to come out and share, right? um, to let go of that need, right? It's almost like the hermit made himself very comfortable in there. Um, and there may be some vulnerability wounds showing up, that fear of being vulnerable. How can I allow myself to be seen? How can I allow myself to be heard and loved and felt again? How could I allow this joy to come in, not knowing, right? Is it going to last? Is it true? Can I trust this? And again, Spirit's coming back in. Remember who you are. Remember the cleaning, the clearing, the cleansing, the cutting, the dissolving, the removing of the toxic energies, and that this is just the residue, right? And that in this new timeline, in this new adventure, this experience that is coming forward, that you are protected and that you absolutely can allow yourself to be vulnerable. That in not looking back on what was and moving forward, that which was is not coming back. So these are truly new experiences that are going to be coming forward, may bring in a lot of excitement, a lot of passion. But in order to really get that passion and that excitement going, we need to ground, we need to bring that positivity in through our root chakra. So getting out there in the grass, right? Getting out there in the sun. Um, maybe going to a different coffee shop or sitting in a park or, but to also try to bring in that connection, because remember, the divine feminine and divine masculine need to come in balance, in harmony with one another. And that divine masculine is going to call us to act, to move our energy, to move our bodies, right? And it's in that where we will see how we are protected, right? We will feel that protection more. So don't be afraid to come out. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable, to show your true inner self, right? Show your true inner teenager, the one that really wanted to be heard, the one that really wanted to be seen and recognized. That teenager had dreams. That teenager had goals. There was an innocence there. There was a purity there that no one saw and recognized, but Spirit did for such a time as this. And I really believe that. I feel like the third eye chakra here is opening up, and that there has been an activation of the third eye. So truly grateful for that. Let's see what angels here. I haven't pulled any tarot, but I really don't want to make these long, and I know I always do. I apologize for that. But we're going to hear from a couple angels here. I know some of you have reached out and said you like these cards, so let's see what's coming through. I'm not going to take them all, just the one on the top here. So, Sashiel, bringer of prosperity, abundance, bringer of prosperity and abundance, prestige, feeling good, opulence. Opulence is a good word, right? Splendor, hope, wealth, generosity, lack. I'm hearing there were a lot of times when you gave of your heart, you gave of yourself, you gave the shirt off your back without sweat, right? You didn't even sweat it. You came upon someone who needed something that you had, and you probably had very little left or very little of it. It was like giving away your last dollar, right? Because somehow inside you, you knew that this dollar would return to you. All those moments of paying it forward, all those moments of just kind generosity out of the compassion of your heart, they're coming back. And because they were such golden little opportunities, they're also like those little creatures, right? Um, they create these unexpected, kind of out of the ordinary, very creative little moments, gems, right? Little manifestations. Um, it's just so funny that I have this feeling again. It says, I help you tune into higher octaves of abundance to magnify the good things in life. Gold is the color. Thursday, manifest it. I mean, really, that tells me that we have been here. We have done that, right? We've had this rebirth. We've had to reinvent ourselves because we stepped into an energy where now our child is free. Now we're told that we can dream and we can hope and we can make plans, and that we do have this magic inside of us, right? And that this is an adventure. And so it's like, we've done it, and now we have assistance here, right? The archangels are coming in and they're saying, now allow, trust us, trust your guides, trust your soul, right? Your oversoul, your higher soul. Um, those divine beings of light, they are here to guide you on this new adventure. Um, it's not going to be like the last adventure. I really feel like I can say, I can guarantee you that it's just an energy that's coming through. It's one of those, it's like, this ain't the same, baby. That's what I just heard. So, wow, that might that might be some of you finding love, um, partnerships, romantic. Um, Uriel, keeper of wisdom and inspiration, guidance, prophetic visions, decisions, plan of action, spark of inspiration. I give wisdom to solve complicated problems and help you find solutions in challenging predicaments. Ruby is the color, Tuesday something better. So I feel like, yes, there are challenges, right? Because it's like the angels came through in the beginning and said, these miracles are here. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. These prayers, these wishes, they've been answered, but they're going to kind of come in chunks. And those chunks are going to require us to make decisions, to take action so that we can bring them into physical manifestation, right? And Uriel here is coming in and confirming that, yes, you are wise enough to have this discernment, right? So that it's not the same adventure, it's not the same game as it was in the past, that you have learned and will continue to learn to trust that gut instinct more and more. Um, having a plan of action, right? Um, it's being prepared for the unexpected, and the unexpected is not always a bad thing. Sometimes I think in the energy of that burning down, that letting go, that dissolving, the cutting, the clearing, the walking away from toxicity, right? That we feel like, mm, it's not going to happen. And so there may be some procrastination, especially if we've gone within. Um, but even setting this plan of action, right? Writing out your goals, writing out your intentions, taking the little steps that you can. You don't have to eat the whole cake at one time, right? You can savor the moment, is what I'm hearing. But to also know that they are here to support you in those times where there may be multiple choices. They're really asking us to trust them, that this is going to be a time where our intuition, our connection to the divine is going to be strengthened, right? It's going to be stretched, it's going to be expanded. So we may find ourselves relying on our intuition, on that wisdom, on those lessons that we have learned more and more. But just confirming that we are on the right path, but to be prepared to make those decisions. And when they feel um, uncomfortable, it's not that we have to turn and run and hide and go within and isolate and withdraw ourselves anymore. To put those requests out there, to be detailed, to ask for those signs, symbols, synchronicities to come through in a manner where it is undeniable for us, and they will bring that in. Also, prophetic visions. Um, these may become stronger, your dreams, your visions, that deep knowing that you know, and there's nothing that can convince you any other way. These may be coming stronger. So we got one more from the angels for this adventure, protection. I'm also, I don't know why, but I'm seeing the owl, right? That protection. I don't know how many of you realize or know, but owls actually, they kind of get dive bombed by other birds, and they'll get dive bombed in like these flocks of birds. So you might have robins and blue jays and uh, mockingbirds kind of all teaming up together, right? And they try to put out the owl's eyes, right? Because the owl is such a great predator. Um, it it really doesn't take a whole lot of effort, because once it's locked in, right? Once it's locked in on its target, it can swoop down, grab it up, and go, right? So they go through these kind of challenges where they've other birds, right, will kind of dive bomb and attack them, but their protection, their wings, their feathers are designed in such a way that it protects them not just from the other birds, but from weather, right? All sorts of weather and conditions. And that they can see, it's like a really wide range. I want to hear it's almost like 360 degrees, right? They can turn their head all the way around, right? And their feathers and their wings are made in such a way that they make no sound. So it's just the owl is a very powerful energy, and I kind of got a visual of that here. So it's to know that you're protected, right? And that what you have locked your sights on is coming through. Yeah. And Raphael, keeper of the Akashic records, balance, peace, meditate according to plan, divine order, sacred knowledge, and research. I bring balance, order, and justice to those who ask and deserve to and desire to follow God's plan, source's plan for their lives. Aquamarine, 2 weeks, get more information. So there may be some things that need to be looked into, right? Um, make sure that you uh, look at details, right? That you cross your T's and dot your I's, right? That you get all of the answer and not just a portion of it. Um, or get all of the information. I think you guys might understand what I just said. Um, so yeah, if there's any kind of contracts, um, it's just telling you to make sure you if you're signing a contract, make sure that it's like got all of the terms and conditions in it, right? So it's not just looking for mistakes. Feel like make sure everything is written down, right? So you may come to agreements and two parties may agree on the same thing verbally. Just make sure that what is said is there, will be there. I feel like it will be. I feel like if there's anything missing, it really is an innocent error. So I don't know where that's coming from, but um, the Akashic records, they're letting us know that we have all of these ancient records within us, all of this ancient knowledge, and that this experience is going to bring this out and bring us into remembrance, right? Um, of who we truly are. And that this is like a sacred knowledge. So it's like it hadn't come out, it hadn't revealed itself Because if you think of a sacred space, right? I do sacred spaces sometimes for the group, but you make sure that you clear away all the clutter. You clear away all the dirt and the dust and the debris. It's a sacred space. You clear the energy, you clear the air, right? You go forward from within your heart. And this this knowledge, this gift that is coming through, it couldn't have come out around this. Mm-mm. You've really crossed a major threshold here. Really crossed a major threshold. And at the bottom of the deck, Adni Adnigio. Oh, I hadn't pulled her before. Angel of Independence, Freedom, Spiritual Growth, Light, Power, Enhanced Pineal Gland, Wisdom, Exploration. I help open the door to freedom in all areas of life through spiritual enlightenment and the discovery of truth. Bronzite, November, and big changes. So, yeah, I think that as we go into this next phase and we start looking for answers, like there may have been some things that it's some feelings like things haven't closed out, or it's like the person who needs to have the last word didn't get the last word, or not having all of the answers of what happened or what had been happening. It may be a desire to have this knowledge, to know, to understand. It will come through. It will come through. You can have faith that if there's anything that was hidden in this energy, that it will be revealed in this energy. So you may be discovering some truths. Some of those truths may um, or may not be pleasant, right? Um, but in finding this truth, it is also going to clarify things um, on a grand scale, I'm hearing. So keep your wits about you. Know you're protected. Um, some of you even find yourself in a new place of learning or study, a higher education, and seeking that adventure, right? Because it falls right here on adventure and protection. Looking into new ways of investing your energy. And yeah, looking into new ways of investing your energy, right? Um, and we're being assisted in bringing in this balance, right? And also encouraged. Um, Everything is going according to plan and according to divine order. To really have trust and faith that the scales are being balanced in your favor. I have no doubt. Mm, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Any other little messages? Since this is an oracle reading now. Um, Before we go, just anything else that Spirit might want to bring through. The numbers 5, 3, and 17 are here. 5, 3 is 8. 1 and 7 is 8. 8, 8. We have the Lion's Gate coming up in August. 8 and 8 is 16. 1 and 7. So number 7 could be big also. All right. I am the dreamer of my dream. Spirit is reminding you of the power, right, of your dreams, of your heart's desires, of those creative sparks of inspiration, those moments of passion, right? That you are the manifester, you are the magician, you hold all the power and wield the four elements within you. Mm-hmm. I am the dreamer of my dream. The universe works best when I'm having fun. Yes, do not forget to get out and have fun. Remember, that heavy logic, mental space that I was picking up in, especially when we're coming out of or have been in a place of isolation, of being withdrawn, of healing silently, right? Get out and have fun. Definitely get out and have fun. This will totally shift your energy. I know there are dishes to do, there's laundries to do, there's kids to feed, there's, money to be made, there's bills to be paid, but bringing in at least little by little, um, as much joy as you can will be very helpful. And underneath it says, I find a deeper meaning and personal growth amidst the discomfort. So yeah, this is going to help any of that residual discomfort, when we come from a place of being silenced, right? Of being told that what we have to say, that what we hold within is not worth being said, that it is not worth being heard. And when this silencing has gone on for an extended period of time, even with the rebirth energy, even with the miracle energy and all that love that brings in that healing, when we are finally called and asked to start taking action to show the world this new who we are, right? This new us, right? It can feel very uncomfortable. It can be coming out of that comfort zone, and it can kind of make you want to just go home and hide again. But I'm hearing the world is not judging you half as bad as you're judging yourself. So for those who are still feeling the weight of the judgment, right? That past judgment, possibly from the teenage years, right? Um, Know that you're not the same person, and know that you're not in the same situation or going to be in the same situation, that you're coming out of that energy, and that as you rise above, as you transcend this experience, right? As you answer the higher calling of the heart and allow these bits and pieces of joy and that connection on the earthly realm, even human connection, right? Being able to sit side by side and just be heard, right? To have someone hold your hand or give you a hug and just spend that time with you, right? You deserve that. You deserve that. And know that things will lift and that there is a brighter day ahead. I really have no doubt of that. Anyway, I don't want to keep you any longer. I feel like I already have gone like too long. So I love you guys. I hope this brings some clarity and some peace and some comfort to you all. Um, and I will get one more message because I like my kitties. They always bring a positive tune. Um, so we have Magic Maker. Meet Lynx. She is a sorcerer, a shaman, and a witch cat. She is the part of you that creates a magical brew of intention and action that results in manifestations beyond your wildest dreams. She can usher in deep healing and revolutionary transformation, turn inward, connect to the powerful current of your life force, and can duct that energy into creations for the good of all. You have everything you need within you. Don't hold back. The world needs your magic. Claim your place at the table of dreamers and magic makers, and links will meet you there. I'm not going to say anything more other than I love you all and thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you very soon. Peace.